I'm Myron Wehr. I've farmed for 60 years in Columbiana, Mahoney County, and grew corn. Early on, we did not grow soybeans, but we grew wheat, oats, and made some hay. I started out really doing custom combining. Bought my first combine in 1962. I've had a combine in 5 counties in 2 states. After high school, I went on to college and graduated from High State University. My dad had a herd of Guernseys, a very good herd of Guernseys. And he asked me, after I graduated, you going to stay here and milk cows with me? Dad never milked more than 25 cows. And I says, well, to support 2 families, we're going to have to milk 60 cows. Dad says, no, we're not. He says, we're not going to milk that many cows. So that's when I started. I bought a combine and started doing custom work. And had a few years there, I did some part-time selling for different things. I had 2 daughters, and they each have 2 daughters. My wife, Linda, was married in 93, and she's got 2 daughters, like I had 2 daughters. We got 4 girls between us, 9 grandchildren. I'm basically all no-till now, particularly on the corn. In 63, the 2 fellows out of Worcester that started the no-till, they brought the planter they was using over to my dad's farm, which I still own. That was my first experience with no-till, and that was in 63. And I've transitioned over time to 100% no-till. And when I quit farming and sold the equipment, I did not have a moldboard plow to sell. We did some minimum tillage, where it was needed, but most of the corn was planted no-till. I have a lot of pictures of no-till, and I was down to the point, the way we were planting and the fertilizers I was using, I practically was not spreading any dry fertilizer at all. I was getting more efficient use out of my dollars spent on a good liquid that we put down and grow good crops. And we've had some excellent crops in this area. Things are totally different today than when I started, 60 years ago. And I had a spell there 10 years after. I had farmers calling me wanting to quit. Will you rent my ground in this area here? Because they seen what kind of crops I was growing and what. Just do a good job if you get started. And if you got to hire some work done, such as combining or harvest, you can probably hire it done cheaper than what you can afford to own a piece of equipment. And you need to take a look at that. The biggest thing, I think, is find out what your cost of production is. How can you produce it the cheapest so you can make a profit when you sell it? Don't worry about, like in my area, we got a lot of hilly farms, and some people shy away from hilly farms. There's some people 500 miles west of me wouldn't even look at some of the ground that I've farmed. But when you can grow 225 bushel per acre corn on it, only pay $50 an acre rent, and somebody else out in the flatlands is paying $200 an acre, that's a profit picture you need to look at. I had a fellow working for me probably for 15, 18 years now. He's farming on his own and rented ground and bought his own equipment. He was a local neighbor boy, grew up. Sam Myron's his name. I did combining for his dad and granddad, and that's how I got acquainted with him in the area. And when he got old enough to run equipment, I hired him to help me. And then he's transitioned into his own operation. It's a high corn performance trials that I'm involved with, and it's on the farm that we're talking on now. And people who rented this farm knew that was one of the stipulations, that was going to continue as long as Ohio State University in Worcester was wanting to do it because I wanted to keep knowing what's going on in agriculture. Just because I retired, I'm not walking away from it and slamming the door. But it keeps me involved in what's going on and what's new coming down the road.
One of my first roles in Extension was to work with the Ohio Farm Business Analysis team. And one of my first meetings on farm was actually at Myron's. He's in Columbiana County, so it was nice and close. It was a great way to get my feet wet. And we spent a few hours working through Myron's books, looking at his programs, his new technologies he was implementing on farm. And it was pretty eye-opening to see all of the advanced technologies and research that was happening just in our own backyard. And that was one of the things that actually helped form some of the programs we first held when I first became an educator. So Myron has been successfully farming for over 62 years. And as he's transitioning into this period of retirement and passing the farm down to the next generation that will be working that land, he's still maintaining his involvement in a lot of different industry boards and advisory committees. He still sits on our Extension Advisory Committee and is involved with different co-op meetings and comes to still learn, but also to offer his expertise and any information that folks are willing to listen or share. So I don't see Myron ever really getting out of the farming scene. As with any farmer, you never truly retire. So he's going to be around, and I am sure still continuing his involvement on many levels as long as he can.
Just try it on your farm and see if it works. It doesn't work on every farm. Everything doesn't work every place, but you need to try something on your farm and see if it's going to work for you. If it works for you, go for it.